Hello, my name is Adam Murray and welcome to Extra Time. Please hit that like button and we'd love you if you could subscribe to the channel. It's a big weekend of GA ahead, especially for our senior teams here in Waterford. Joining me tonight alongside Ryan Hennessy and Mr. Briggs is Waterford senior football captain and Rathgormac footballer Conor Murray. Thanks for joining us on Extra Time tonight, Conor.
No bother at all, Adam. Pleasure.
I'll start with a few questions for you. And I actually want to start by asking you about soccer, because you played a lot of soccer when you were younger. How did you manage balancing soccer and football when you were a young player?
I suppose when I was playing the soccer, my main focus was on soccer. I kind of turned to it when I was under 13 soccer. I went into Carrick United playing for them, and I was playing all underage with Waterford as well. So from Kennedy Cup up, I played with Waterford up to under 16. We won in All Ireland as well under 16. So that kind of helped me stay in love with soccer at that age. Then once schoolboys was finished, I played a year Premier with Carrick United before moving down to Waterford United to play under 19 for 2 seasons. We had a really good team the first year in the under 19s. A lot of them are still playing League of Ireland now, and 2 or 3 of them went to America on scholarships. And then the second year I kind of started turning towards the football because I was called into the senior panel under Tom McGlinchey. So to be honest, I didn't really balance the soccer and the football when I was playing them. I did stay playing with the club, and I was playing minor as well. But at that time, there wasn't a whole lot of preparation with the minor and with the under 21. So I was able to balance them in some way. But most of my time was spent with soccer. There was actually some nights below in Carrigan where I'd train after college when I was in first year, train with the soccer for maybe an hour and a half, and then go out and train for half an hour, 45 minutes with the football. So it's not really balancing it, but that's what I was at anyway.
And do you think the skills in the soccer, do you think that helped your football game?
Oh, definitely, yeah, 100%. Vision and even just a sense of awareness of where I am on the pitch. But the one thing is vision and playing with my head up. That's something that was drilled into us with soccer from under 13 up. It was when you receive the ball, get your head up, and that's something you're told in football now. Once you get the ball, get your head up, take your 4 steps before taking a play. So that's the main one I found that crossed over.
And I want to ask you about Rathgormac, obviously. Obviously, the county final last year, it was a big moment for the club. But what memories can you recall from a few weeks?
The county final.
Yeah,
they were the days. It was unbelievable. We've been listening to your father and all the older lads telling us about the wins in the 90s and what it meant to the village and the celebrations that they had, and ever since I started playing football as a young lad, that's all I ever wanted to do, just to create memories like that and be part of a winning county championship team. And when we got over the line last year, it was unbelievable, the feeling at the last, when the final whistle went. And it wasn't until the final whistle, we were destroyed in the second half. Ballynacorty were all over us. Briggs came on there, he was throwing himself around for the second half. We couldn't get up the field. They had plenty of chances, and we just got over the line at the end, thank God. And look, what went on afterwards it was really special out in the field, seeing all the relatives and just me on the pitch with the players, the lads we've been training away with since under 8s, under 10s. There's a lot of that team won a minor in 2012 as well. There was 10 of the starting team on that minor team, and then if Billy, James and Tom. So it's really 2 county minor winning teams that made up the team last year. So it was really special to win it with all the lads we grew up playing with. And then I suppose the highlight for me after the game was coming back to the village. We were on a trailer on the back of a tractor and just coming up to the village, and the whole community was out. It was really, really special to see what it meant to everyone.
Conor, can I just ask, I suppose Waterford's game, or soccer's loss is Waterford's game, but unfortunately for Ballynacorty, it's probably our loss that you're involved. But I suppose to a lot of uneducated football people, you kind of came out of nowhere. But to people who would know football, you didn't, because you have a lot of super young players coming up. But I suppose, two men that I would say, for instance, have known through the years would have been Ger Power and Michael O'Loughlin. And, you know, two bigger football men you wouldn't find. Could you just talk to us about like the influence of those two lads on the county final winning year last year?
Yeah, and it even goes back to before Ger and Michael. There's Brendan Curry. He's Michael and Jason's father. He trained the majority of that team from, as I said, under 8s. He trained that team the whole way up to under 21. We won a minor A, and there was 3 or 4 under 21As. And then there was Denny Hassett. He'd be Donica's father. He trained the other minor team that won, with Billy and James and Stevie on it. So they had a really big influence on it, all before the county final. And then last year with Ger has a wealth of experience. He's really organised. He's a brilliant manager. And then Michael, he's been involved with some top-class setups inter-county. He's been up with Laois. He was part of the Tip backroom team that won the minor All-Ireland there. Not sure what year it was, but he was coaching them that year. So there was a real sense of calm. Even though it was our first county final, we didn't feel a huge amount of pressure because the lads had us really well prepared, and we knew what to expect coming into that game last year.
We're talking about the celebrations there. I'd say you enjoyed them enough, right?
I didn't. I went home early, but yeah, it was nice to see celebrations. Everyone there. There's a massive crowd up outside Maudie's, and even through the village. But yeah, it was a quiet night for myself.
Adam, can I just stop you there, because we've had Ryan on now about 2 or 3 times, and I'd love to know, like, this man is professing to be part of every club in Waterford as far as I can see. So Ryan, tell us this: what club actually are you? All right, like, if you were 21 tomorrow, what club are you going to play for?
Rathgormac and Plan A.
Rathgormac. Well, look, you heard it here first, folks.
And obviously it's a great run with the club last year. Really got a chance to play with the club a lot, but a lot of time probably be away training county and stuff. But there's talks this year like having a split club season and county season. That's something you'd be in favour of, Conor? Or?
Yeah, 100%. Even this year as well, coming back after lockdown, we were all just back in training with the club. Usually there'd be 8 or 9 of us training with the football, then Billy be with the hurling, there'd be a few more with underage teams, underage hurling football. So like we wouldn't have really got to train with the club. But this year now it was unbelievable, getting everyone in the field every night. So I hope next year anyway, and well, maybe not next year, but maybe the year after, that those plans are put in place where it's a split season, where you might have your inter-county from, say, February to July, get your league and your championship done by July, early August, and then you're in with your club from August to whenever. Because I think if they play the club first, I think it'll be just too condensed and everything will be pushed into too much of a tight time frame. But if they play the club second, then the counties know when they have to get their club championships played, and that'll give us a chance as well to play the provincial club championships, which are really important. And in my opinion, they're the best part of GA. They're my favourite competition in the GA. The provincial clubs, they're just special competition from looking on the last few years, and it was brilliant then to be involved in that last year against Milltown Malbay. But no, I'd be all in favour of the split season.
And Conor, one of the big things that I suppose would break my heart over the last 20, 30 years of water football is the fact that it can be very hard to get everyone to commit. And I suppose, having looked at your team there at the weekend, there's 2 or 3 guys there who wouldn't have been involved, say, last December or January, but they've come back in now because, well, I don't want to speak for them, but more than likely it's because of the condensed season. Do you think that this would encourage even more players in Waterford to play for the county and give the commitment if they knew that inter-county season was going to be from January to, say, middle of June?
Yeah, 100%. Like, there's no covering it up. It is a lot easier to attract lads if it is going to be for 6, 7, 8 weeks, whatever it is. And like, I'd question as well if there's any need for a 3-month pre-season. Like, if you look at the teams performing the last 2 weeks in the league, Mayo have been unbelievable with what, a 6-7 week pre-season. They look really sharp. They're just hopping off the ground. And if that does come in, I think it'd be a lot easier from counties like us in Waterford to attract players. like Tony Gray is one that springs to mind. Tony's been out of the inter-county setup. I've never played with Tony. I've been involved for 5 years. But he's come back. Definitely, without a doubt, it's been one of the main factors in getting him back was that 6 to 7 weeks to prepare. And Tony now is bringing a wealth of experience. He's a top-class player. So it bodes well for us if that is the approach going forward, where there is a 6 or 7 week lead into championship games, which makes it easier to attract players.
And another thing that might attract players is possibility of a Be All-Ireland, or the Title Cup as they're calling it. Would that give Waterford, say, something positive to work towards now in the future?
Yeah, look, the Tailteann Cup is a step in the right direction anyway, but the big thing for us is always the league. The league is our championship. Shane will tell you that himself. Like, we're getting ready for, well, it was usually the end of January. We were peaking for the end of January. And then there's always a good kick in Waterford football for a championship game. You're guaranteed to get one good championship game out of Waterford football, whether it's Munster Championship or a qualifier. So, look, that Tailteann Cup, it is a step in the right direction. It allows us to be more competitive and play against teams on a similar level to us in Division 3 and 4. And you can see what that can lead to. When we bet Wexford 2 or 3 years ago, I think it was 2 years ago, but then we went out and played Monaghan 2 weeks after and we got absolutely annihilated. So that Tailteann Cup, Adam, yeah, it is a step in the right direction, and it could be used to, or it could be helpful in attracting more players.
And I suppose it was the one thing that I was very surprised with in a lot of other counties, and I would say so-called weaker counties. Carlow comes to mind, was the pushback against that B Championship, which, look, I can understand why guys would want to play against the top players, but like you said, it's very hard to sustain that level of commitment year upon year when you have a chance of winning essentially nothing. And like with the Waterford players, I'm assuming like the chance to play in Croke Park must be huge. I mean, they're promising, say, it'll be well supported, that it'll be, there'll be good, I suppose, good finance put up against it. But like, even the chance, look, I was lucky enough to play once ever in Croke Park, and to be honest with you, it'll be the highlight of my career probably as long as I live, even though there was probably 20 people there. But like, it's still, we got there and like, we finished top of Division 4 at the time. And like, I agree with you when you say like Division 4 has to be the key. Like, is it frustrating then when you say like you come up against county boards who they won't let you train from, say, November, or guys won't commit from November, when you really need to be hitting the ground running in that end of January?
Yeah, no, I was one of them 20 people there as well. I remember we got a bus up from Rathgormac with the underage. We got a 52-seater up for that. They're one of the rare appearances in Croke Park. But no, going back to your question, yeah, some counties like Carlow. Look, Carlow, use them as an example. They've had the same panel in place their last 5 or 6 years, and they have a really good structure. They're kind of starting to fall away a bit now, but that's besides the point. But the problem in Waterford is we have a massive turnover every single year. And then we can't really build, because let's say we work on stuff this year, Benji or whoever the manager is, they have to go back over all that stuff next year with the newer lads. So the thing is, if that Tailteann Cup does come in, and as I was saying earlier, we can be more competitive and get lads to stay. They're going to be more willing to stay on the panel for the following year, you know what I mean? And if we're competitive in the league as well. And that's what we want. What we need in Waterford is the younger lads coming up, Adam and Ryan. We need lads like that who are going to stay on the panel. We need to get the level. The turnover is way too high. I'd say I've played with nearly over 100 players in the last 5 years, and I'm not even exaggerating.
Well, look, even you mentioned that Division 4 final, and it's a fact that, say, we lost the final by a point, but we got promoted. The following year, 4 of the starting 6 forwards that day were gone. Like, and then we only went down then the following year from Division 3 on score difference. I mean, I see guys like yourself, and you're pushing. In fairness to Brian Luby, Michael Curry, but I mean, you need everyone. And like, you're going to lose obviously the Jamie Barnes of this world to hurling, but like, it has to be attractive to everybody else. And like, I feel for guys like yourself who just put the effort in, and realistically, You know, you need everyone to push, because you know yourself, Division 4 has never been more competitive.
No, never. Jesus, the caliber of some teams who've been down there the last few years has been top class. Derry's been down, Westmeath have been down. There's a lot of teams yo-yoing up and down, like and like you said, you need that core group of lads there, a big core group of lads. We lost Tommy and JJ this year, which were huge losses. They've soldiered there for the last 10, 11 years. So what we need is lads coming onto the panel who are gonna stick around, and they're gonna invest time in themselves to develop, because that's what it is. A lot of the time at Waterford, you know you're not going to win an All-Ireland. You're not going to win an All-Ireland playing football for Waterford. Your goal is to win a league. And that can sometimes seem like a big stretch of the imagination. So what you're really doing is you're investing in yourself. You're trying to get better as a player, and that's going to benefit the club as well. But I found over the last 5 years, as well as developing as a player and investing in yourself as a player, you pick up a lot of things for life that are invaluable, and you wouldn't get them in many places other than inter-county setup, such as being disciplined and really committing to something that might not seem that worthwhile. You know, it's easy to commit to something if you know you're going to get a reward out of it. But we're going back in every November, every December. We're going down there 4 or 5 nights a week. We don't know if we're going to get that out of it. We might come second last in the league and get bet in the first round of the qualifiers, but we do it anyway because we want to get better as players.
We were talking there about losing lads like Jamie Barron to hurling and different fellas. Ryan, you would lost a lot of minor team to hurling this year. Was that frustrating?
Yeah, very frustrating. Like there this year, if we had old hurlers, like there was great hurlers, Mark Fitz, 2 Dalton twins from Shamrocks, 3 very good hurlers, but also very talented footballers. Like they were a massive loss to our football team there this year. So like if we had the likes of them, who knows, like Waterford minor football could nearly be going for a Munster Championship sometime.
Yeah, no, that's always been the way around. Like the last few years, we had an unreal minor team. It was my first year on the minor. We had likes of Tom Devine and Willie Haas. He was on. There was a lot of lads on that minor team that won the All Ireland, and that's just the way. Like it's just the draw of the hurling here in Waterford. It's never going to change. But it's just
managers don't give hurlers much of a chance either. Like you'd say something if the hurlers could come train maybe once or twice a week and go hurling as well, and even if they just turned up for the championship games, missed a few challenges, like even that would help a small bit. But the hurling managers are very set on keeping them on hurling and just hurling. It's not very fair on the young lads. So
I think that's where a split season would probably come in, Ryan, help. I mean, look, it's very, you look at, say, for instance, if you look at teams in Dublin there, I know Ballyboden, say, for instance, would have got to 2 county finals last year in hurling football, but yet there's literally no overlap of players, maybe 1 or 2. Whereas, you know, Clonea, Rathgormac, it's basically the same 14 odd lads. Banlacorty, Abbeyside, it's the same 14 odd lads. If you can split the season, and you've even seen it this year now, I don't know about Conor, but it's been much easier for us at Abbeyside to split the season ourselves, because we knew it was going to be hurling for 6 weeks, then it's going to be football, and you can put everything into those areas. I think the GA needs to really look at that and look at the benefits of not just the club, but that can actually work too at inter-county level. So there is no overlap between, say, minor hurling and minor football, and you being a dual star as well can play both next year.
I feel like everyone would love the chance to play dual minor, so it'd be very nice if the season did go like that, split season. So hopefully sometime in the near future it could happen.
Yeah, I think a big thing would be a change in mindset with the management as well. There's no need for a 3-month pre-season when you're a minor. There's absolutely no need for it. Like even at senior inter-county, you don't need a 2 or 3 month pre-season. It's not professional like in the Premier League where you're playing every week. Like they need to have a supreme level of fitness that they're almost indestructible in terms of injuries with hamstrings and so on. We don't need that in the GA because we're not playing every week, you know?
Yeah, but I think even like being like, I know, I suppose being from a PE background, like I've spoken to a lot of lads who played soccer over in England, mostly at the youth level, but they'll tell you themselves that the longest pre-season lasted at any of those Premiership clubs is 5 weeks. And it is an issue in inter-county. I've seen it myself for years and years and years where like you're overtrained completely. And especially during that, like, I mean, I saw it myself, I suppose, when I kind of retired from inter-county, and the horror of, you know, the club month happens in April. And then when April is over, it's back to another pre-season again with the club, and they run the living legs off you. And you're there going, I can't actually probably get any fitter. It's only games I want. But no, we're going to go back around the slog. And then guys start to get injured and fatigued. And then people mistake fitness for freshness. And then we'll run them again. Like, I mean, it's definitely, I know how you feel, Conor, but like overtraining seems to me to be the single biggest problem the GAA has right now.
Yeah, I'd agree, definitely, 100%. You can see that too with the injuries that have been picked up inside this county and around the country, but it's all coming back to overtraining, just training for training's sake.
I think it's a shame, Mr. Briggs, that like we can't see, say, players like Sean O'Halpine or Diarmaid Rocco Sullivan, you know, played both codes for the county. You just couldn't do it nowadays. Like,
yeah, well, I suppose the commitment is huge. You can't do it nowadays. And in fairness, like you'd love to see more of these guys, but they can't physically do it because, especially with the hurling, look, you have to be hurling every day, and with football on top of that, then it's just impossible. But like, I don't see why a guy can't do it at underage if the season can be split. You know, minor hurling, minor football. Like, we all do it at club level anyway, obviously to a lot lower extent. So, I mean, look, you're a dual player, Adam. I'm sure you probably have, you know, dreams of playing probably in the next couple of years, both hurling and football for Waterford. And like, if it comes down to it, and you're 18 or 19 and you're good enough, like, which one are you going to choose?
well, you're putting the gun to my head here now a bit, but
Choose wisely.
I probably have to say the football, just because coming from Rathgormac, you know, big football stronghold in the county, and all my family would be involved with Waterford and Rathgormac teams over a few generations, like, so probably nice to continue on the tradition as well.
You'd probably be kicked out of the family then as well if you choose hurling and say Adam.
That's a
I
possibility.
wouldn't.
We're talking about the commitments there, Conor, of like playing into county these days. But what kind of training would you be focused on now, say in your pre-season? Like, how many nights a week, or what kind of stuff do you be doing to get your bodies in shape?
Pre-season, we were going we were together 3 nights of the week, and then it was 2 gym sessions as well outside of that on your own. So one of the nights of the week was usually a Monday night. We'd be in Carriganore every night. The Monday night we'd do 40 minutes in the gym, and then we'd be out in the pitch for an hour and 10. And that'd be mostly football. Wednesday then you might be conditioning. There's a lovely dark corner in Carriganore with the hill they use for the cross country. We were up and down that at the start of the year. And like, it was really stuff like that. It really brought us together as a team. You know, when you're training in the depths in November and December, like I said, we were peaking for January. So training like that brought us together because we were a new panel. But back to your question, then, that's mostly what we were at in pre-season. There was a big emphasis on the gym and getting your sessions in, maybe 1-2 conditioning sessions, and then football as well. At the moment, our training, it's really, there's not much of a workload there at all. Last night we were just walking through stuff like kickouts, kind of set plays if we're up against a packed defence, or if we're trying to break them down, or maybe working on getting an extra man back if we're under pressure in a game, just kind of game management stuff like that. And it'll just be really, really easy this week after the game last weekend as well.
And Conor, you played Antrim in the league this week. There was question marks over the game. I know some players' work would have been affected if they had to travel up to the north, but Are you happy to get the game played in the game under your belts before a championship?
Yeah, definitely. Jeez, it was invaluable. Before it, that was our main concern, that we would be going into the Limerick game cold. It's a massive difference between playing. I know we might have been up to a high standard with the club by the end of championship, but it's a completely different ball game playing 70 minutes compared to playing 60, 65 with the club. It's a completely different level of fitness. Intercounty is non-stop, and it was good to get that game under our belt because of the lads that have been reintroduced into the panel, and some lads it was their first taste of intercounty action. Willie Hassey, it was his first game for the county, and he'll tell you he found it. It was a real eye opener, the level of fitness that you need for intercounty, the 70 minutes. So we were delighted to get that game under our belt. And look, the result didn't work out in the end, but look, it was a dead rubber game effectively for us, and it turned out like that for Antrim as well. So it was just good to get the minutes into the legs.
And Limerick travelling down to Farran Saturday, 7 o'clock on Saturday, I think. And how are the preparations going for that?
Good, yeah. We've one or two niggles now. Jason Curry went over on his ankle the game at the weekend, and Gooch, Stevie seeing red, and he got sent off. There's only 20 seconds left in the game, and off the ball incident. So we're not sure if he's going to be available Saturday. He'll be a massive loss if he's not available. Carried and mounting the ball on Saturday. Really good game. Other than that, things are going good. The lads who came back into the panel and have been first time on the panel, they've really bought into it, and they're getting up to speed with how we play. So no, it's all looking good for Saturday night.
And Conor, I suppose, I think 2001 was the first qualifier Waterford played Carlow. Show my age now, I actually played in that game. It's back to championship, so I mean, it's do or die basically stuff. Does that add extra pressure now for the weekend, or is it kind of a just case of, well, lads, whatever happens, we can go out and enjoy ourselves and maybe throw off the shackles a small bit?
Yeah, kind of the latter there. We were saying last night that we're sick of it, just being competitive and maybe getting bet by 2 or 3 points. We've had enough of that. There's actually more games like that in the last 3 or 4 years where we've had enough of that 2 or 3 point losses, moral victories, as they call them. You think you're after playing well, but you're still getting bet. So this weekend now it's shackles off, and it's a shot at nothing really. It's a knockout championship, and if we win, we have a home semi-final the week after, but we won't be looking past Saturday.
Like we actually spoke about it here only a couple of weeks ago, that realistically this is the best draw that Waterford could have got in terms of the overall picture. You have Limerick, and then hopefully you can overcome that, you've Tip or Clare. So on the other side of the draw, you've got Cork and Kerry, and like all of those teams will kind of fancy the fact that they can get to a Munster final. So I suppose that must be a huge incentive for the players also. Yeah,
100%. All those 4 teams, they'd take their hand off for that draw at the start of the year to be on the opposite side to Cork or Kerry, with the chance of getting into a provincial semi-final or provincial final. Look, we're under no illusions that it's a draw Limerick wanted too, but yeah, as you said, at the start of the year, if we got this draw, we would have taken your hand off. So hopefully we can capitalise on that now on Saturday night.
Do you think the wintry conditions will make a big difference in the game, or would you be pretty used to it from the league anyway?
No, I wouldn't say they'd have too much of a bearing. The pitch is in unreal condition in Fairfield. We were there last night. To be fair to Ollie, he has it looking in top condition, and like you said, we're used to playing in wet and windy conditions with the league. The game against Wexford earlier in the year, it was like the world was going to end. I never played conditions in such bad weather, gale and rain. So I think if we played in that, we'll be able for Saturday night or whatever's coming in the next few weeks.
Right, well, I'm out of questions anyway. So.
You can't think of that and to ask, no more. Sure. Have you something to ask, Ryan?
I was going to ask about what do you think about the no crowds at the games, or how's it feeling, and how do you think it will feel on Saturday in Fairfield with no one at all up in the stands?
I was going to say we're well used to Waterford football, but no. No, it will be weird, you know, when you're getting a run on a team, you kind of get that bit of a lift from the crowd that is there, no matter how small it is. A good one was last year against the Antrim in the league. We played in Blown Carriganore, and it was well documented that there was 89 people at the match. But even though there was only that many people at the game, we came back and won that game, and it was just massive. There was a massive buzz from the crowd with 5 or 6 minutes left. Every ball that was turned over, every tackle, it'd give you that bit of an extra lift to stay going. So it will be missed on Saturday, but look, sure, we're blessed to have games as it is at the moment, so we'll take whatever we can get.
Conor, it's going to be a strange one. Is going to be the fact that we still don't know what's going to happen next year. But I mean, the National League could be potentially starting again at the end of next January. If you could get a good run, say if you could beat Limerick, get into play Tipper or Clare, and you never know what can happen on a one-off game like that. Do you think the lads might be, I suppose, enthusiastic to the idea of maybe a week or two off and might go again then to really push on for Division 4 next year?
Yeah, possibly. Like, as you said, it won't be that far away, and we usually go back into pre-season around November. Look, we'll have to see what happens. It's, even though we were off in the middle of the year for a fair chunk of time, a lot of lads, almost everyone, was still training away. So I feel myself it's been a really long year. There was a long time there with no games, and you were just training away every day, nearly to stay sane at one point during lockdown. And then when you went back with the club, you were back into hard training. So I'd be fairly in favour of maybe 3 or 4 weeks of a break, just to reset the mind and go again for next year.
Well, if I were you now, I'd take a break till around about the end of February. Do nothing. Do absolutely nothing. Mind your body there. Get ready for next year's
well.
Yeah, winter well. Thank you, Adam. Winter well, and you know, healthy body, healthy mind, and all that kind of stuff.
Healthy body, healthy mind. Yeah, I'll take your recommendations into consideration.
Adam, do you want to kind of finish up that last piece then? So, and we'll leave it there.
Yeah. Before we go, I'd like to thank Ryan, Mr. Briggs, and especially Conor for joining me tonight. The very best of luck the weekend, Conor, and we'll be cheering you on at home. Before you go, can I just ask you to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. Tomorrow we have Waterford senior hurler Declan on to discuss their game against Cork. See you all soon on Extra Time.